And back then you could say this. I guess you can't anymore, but I'm saying it as if it was back then, dude. Was so gay, dude. He's just fucking like, I knew I loved you before I met you. Just fucking, just not even pronouncing. This is the Fuck Your Pupil's Life, and I start every episode by saying the pupil's life 5 times. Dude, I'm feeling good. Today's not even my recording day, but I was just feeling so good that I was like, fuck it, dude. Let's rock and roll, man. You know? Imagine if that was just your catchphrase, like if you actually had to say that at work. Like, all right, guys, let's fucking rock and roll, dude. What's going on, man? I fucking totally missed Memorial Day. The last week, I was just like, what are some events that are going on in late May? To be honest, man, I don't even know what Memorial Day is. Yeah, dude, that's one of the things about where I grew up is that I don't know what half of these holidays are. It seems like every other month we're celebrating military. And that's great, you know. I'm all for it, but I just don't know, like, what do you do if you're 25 years old and you're a man and you just live you know, you're just living your fuck it life. And it's like, oh, dude, what are you going to do for Memorial Day? You know, what if it's like, oh, I'm going to put up a shrine for my grandpa because he was in the military. I remember him telling me that back in the olden days, he was, in fact, in the military. You know, like, what the fuck am I going to do for Memorial Day, dude? It's just excuses to get together with people and eat dinner, right? That's all that holidays are. It's just excuses for people to get together and eat dinner, which is cool. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting together with people and eating dinner, Nick. But I do have a bunch of shit that I wanted to talk about, man. So I'm just going to get into it. I've been, dude, I've been trying to figure out how I can talk about this because it's another program that I've been letting go of. You know, I think it was last week or the week before that I talked about how I'm not going to wear my night guard anymore, and just trust that I don't need to wear my night guard. Right? This is a program that I've been conditioned to believe, and because I believe it, now my body actually thinks that it needs it. Right? Which is why I want to let go of it. Because if I let go of the idea that I need it, then my body won't need it. That's the whole belief that I'm going with. And this week, dude, I put another one into practice. You know, this was not by choice, but I think it was Monday, dude. Actually, the last episode came out on Monday. I I just was fucking like, I recorded an episode, and then I did therapy on Zoom, and then I did this new group, which I can actually talk about. But I did this new sort of like spiritual processing group that I signed up for, and then after that, dude, it was maybe like 7 p.m. I talked to my friend Emilia, and dude, after the phone call, like halfway through the phone call, she like took a work call and was like, "Give me a second," and during that second, I felt just my physical body was upset about something, you know, and so I fucking flushed it out, flushed it out the toilet. And I was like, all right, dude, I guess I'll be okay now. But then I just started to feel weak. Like I started to feel like fatigue, and just like tired and sore. I almost just threw up in my mouth with that burp. Tastes great. I started to feel like, here's the thing, man. The thing I'm trying not to say is that I was sick, right? Because you get a fucking cough, you get a cold, people are like, you're sick, right? And I just don't believe that anymore, right? I'm not saying like I'm perfectly fine. That's not what I'm saying either. It's not I'm sick, dude, and it's also not like I'm 100% fine right now. I'm just trying to reframe it. I'm trying to reframe it, and so I don't know what the alternative is, right? I've just been trying to focus on the physical sensations, which is what Letting Go by David R. Hawkins says is what's actually going to heal you. And instead of being like, oh, dude, I'm sick. This was the first time, dude. One of the first times, but like the first time that I've gotten quote unquote sick, that I was able to sort of reframe it in the moment. And so I started to feel all these things, and then I said, okay, something's up. And the reason I don't want to say I'm sick, the reason I'm trying to let go of that program is because I'm not sick. When you feel weak, when your body is just not acting the way it normally does, dude, it's trying to tell you something that you haven't been listening to, right? And so when we just take on this idea of, oh, I'm just sick, right? It's just, oh, I just caught the cold, right? It was just my turn. Like it's just supposed to happen. Then we miss the information, right? We miss that communication from our body. And so this time, it was pretty obvious, man. Like I had not gotten as much sleep as I normally do for 2 nights in a row. And I was just like, dude, I remember I woke up on Monday and I felt slightly like I was just like tired because that was one of the nights that I didn't sleep as much. And I woke up tired, dude. And the first thing I did was I sat down on my desk and I wrote a list of all the things that I needed to do that day. I have to do all these things. And it was fucking, I need to write. I need to meditate. I need to work out. I need to fucking record a podcast. I need the therapy, my group. And it's just like all of a sudden, dude, it's 7:50 in the morning. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, dude, all of a sudden, I don't have any time left in the day. At 8 in the morning, I've decided that I know exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of the day from 8 in the morning, dude, till I go to sleep. And I didn't listen, man. I didn't listen to my body. My body was like, hey, dude, hey, you're tired, dude. Hey, maybe just, yeah, that's a cute list. Today's a Monday, dude. I know normally you get a lot of stuff done on Mondays, and I know Monday's like your day, right? But hey, hey, dude, you're tired. Just take it easy today, right? And I didn't, dude. So I wake up on Tuesday, and it's a little bit worse. And the signs that my body is trying to give me are a little bit stronger. Um, I have to go to work, and Tuesdays I work from 10 in the morning to 9:30 p.m. at night, right? 12-hour day. And so now that my body's like, guess what, motherfucker? We're going to make it harder on the day that you can't rest. See what you do now. You going to listen now? You going to fucking listen now, dude, or what? And I didn't, right? I went to work and I was like, I'll tough it out, dude. Like, work's easy. I'll just take it easy. I won't do what I normally do, and I'll just like chill. I'll just read or something. But I'm still at work, dude. I still have to be taking care of people and stuff. My boss shows up around fucking noon, and finally I was like, dude, I'm not feeling well. If it's slow, do you think I can close just a couple hours early? And he said, oh, you're not feeling well. Why not just call somebody to cover for you? And I was like, that part of me that's like, I don't want to ask people for help. And so he was like, I'll call her. And I was like, fuck it. All right. If you're going to do it, then I guess, right. If you're going to fucking listen to the signs that my body's trying to make me listen to, then I guess it's out of my hands. And so somebody shows up at 2 p.m. and I leave. And then I go home, dude. And I just, the whole point of me saying this, dude, is not to take you fucking step by step through my week, man. God damn. It is to, I just ignored the signs for the first day and a half. And I just developed a little bit of this, a runny nose, dude. Just mild, like, irritation in the back of my throat. And but the thing, dude, is that those are things that in the past have led to my tonsils getting fucking swollen, dude, and then steroids, and then just fucking take a week off of life kind of thing. So on Tuesday, I was finally like, all right, dude, I'm gonna not do anything today. I'm off at 2 p.m. I'm just gonna go home, dude. Just go home and fucking just not do anything. So I went home, dude. I fucking watched a couple documentaries, and got enough sleep. That night I got enough sleep. And then on Wednesday, same deal, dude. Didn't do anything on Wednesday. Didn't do anything on Wednesday. And by Thursday, I was feeling a little bit better. And today's Friday, dude. I'm recording this on a Friday, dude. And besides my voice not sounding like my normal voice, I feel 90 to 95% back to, my body being like, thanks, dude. You fucking you listened. And so I bring this up, dude. That's how I responded to the situation, right? But I bring it up because I think it's very fascinating. Like, this is my first kind of hands-on experience with the concept that I'm going to talk about, or the concept I've been talking about, letting go. Letting go of the idea that you're sick, letting go of the idea that you need medication. And instead, dude, just listening to what is happening and actually just feeling it, dude. If it sometimes it sucks, dude. Like, my gums have hurt a little bit for the last 3 days. And the thing about when your gums hurt is that you can't do anything about it. If your face itches, you can scratch it. If your foot hurts, you can massage it, put ice on it. I can't put ice on my gums, dude. I can't fucking grab an ice pack and just be like, just put it under, just put an ice pack under my fucking teeth, dude. I can't just do that, man. Because that would just make me like give me a fucking uh brain freeze or some shit. Dude, I feel like there's doctors that would probably be like, all right, well, it looks like you've got a minor gum disease, so I'm gonna give you this ice pack to put under your lips, and you might feel a little bit of pain, but it's normal. And then you just go home, dude, and you just like you develop a migraine. um, so what I did instead, man, like in the past, I would just go to fucking HEB and buy NyQuil, right? Buy NyQuil, dude, because it helps me sleep, and then if I get better sleep, then generally it gets better. But it takes like 5 or 6 days. Like usually when I get sick, dude, unless it's my tonsils thing, like when my body's trying to fucking talk to me, man, it's usually about a week. Like a full week of just being in the shit, you know? And when it gets in the shit, it gets in the shit. Like it sucks. And I just don't want to do anything else. And I just want to fucking like, die, dude. And this time, the worst that it got was like, like a minor headache and nothing nothing unbearable is what I'm trying to say. And instead of, being like, fuck, dude, I'm sick. It's just like what I said, man. You're just listening to not why is this happening, but what is this trying to tell me that you're neglecting, your goal of being more and doing less, right? If you didn't get enough sleep, man, you don't have to do all the same things that you do on the day that you got not enough sleep, right? But we hear it in the media, dude, and in the TV and in the Instagram. It's like, oh, you just want to use that excuse, man? Dude, I get fucking 5 hours of sleep and I run a fucking marathon every day. It just makes you think that, like, it makes you think, dude, that your body telling you, hey, man, take it easy is like a trap. It's like it's trying to get you to be a pussy, right? And that's deep. That's coded deep in my fucking cerebellum, dude. And that's never helped me. That only makes me like, and I say deep, coded deep in my cerebellum because clearly I still went to work, dude, for a 12-hour shift when I woke up feeling worse than I had been feeling the day before. So what does that tell you? And so what I did this time, man, I just put my life on hold, and I took vitamin C and vitamin D at least once a day, like fucking thousands of milligrams. And my brother and I bought a juicer a while back, and we had stopped using it. And I went to HEB, man. I went to the grocery store and I bought like 2 fucking stalks of celery, 2 fucking bushels of kale, fucking 10 green apples, the fucking cock-sized ginger, dude, ginger root, beets, carrots, just everything, dude. I just got everything that's vegetables, and I just fucking made this 1.5 liters, dude, of just natural steroids, and took it all, man. And what do you know? Within 2 days, I'm mostly back to feeling like I could go work out. And it feels good, dude. It feels like it gives you more agency in a way to know, like, oh, I'm not sick. I've just not been paying attention. Because that's usually, anytime that you're feeling something, anytime that that you're having an emotion that it's uncomfortable and you're like, why am I feeling this way? Or when you get sick and you're like, why am I sick? Why me? Generally, like what that's trying to tell you, dude, is that you're not paying attention to something. Um, and when you look at it that way, it really does sort of give you agency. Like, oh, okay, so if I pay attention to this thing and I just kind of bear the consequences of not having paid attention to it for a day or two, change the course of my actions, change my behavior a little bit, um, then my body will be like, cool, dude, thanks, dude. You know, it's like when you hurt somebody, dude. It's like not apologizing is like saying like I'm just sick, okay, and then buying NyQuil and fucking all this bullshit or taking fucking whatever, dude. Um, that's like hurting somebody and not apologizing. But that making yourself a fucking green juice, man, and taking vitamins and like cutting your calendar out. Cut your calendar out, dude. Just fucking cut it out of your wall and throw it in the trash for 3 days. That's like an apology, dude. That's like, oh, dude. Oh, I haven't been paying attention to you, body. Forgive me, dude. Everything that I had on the docket that was me not paying attention to you, let's fucking cut it out, dude, right? For 3 days. It's like if your dad, dude, just doesn't come through one day on a promise, like a huge promise. But then like the next weekend, he's like, you know what, buddy, I had all these things like that I needed to do for work, but this weekend it's just gonna be you, me, and the fucking Astros. Right? I don't watch baseball, man. But maybe that's more relatable for use Americans. Um and then you're like, ah, oh, dude, yeah, my fucking dad didn't come through, but now we get a fucking extended weekend together, dude. Um, so yeah, I don't know, man. But I was feeling a little bit sick, and I the whole this whole 20-minute segment was me trying to figure out how to talk about being quote unquote sick without saying I'm sick or I was sick, because I don't think I was sick. Um, and I thought maybe like under the weather was a better, but it's still, dude. The reason things are programs is because you can't actually feel them, and because a lot of them are not actually true. Um, like you can't feel sick. Try to sit here, dude, and try to feel sick. You could feel pain in your chest. You can feel a runny nose. You can feel like a dry throat. You can feel clogged ears, but you can't feel the word sick. Like if you really get down to the nitty gritty, if you fucking put it in a fucking pot, dude, and boil it down, you can't feel sick, dude. And you can't feel like a lot of these things, man. You can't feel them. And so it doesn't help to be like I'm sick, because then it's like your body's like, I need to feel something, dude. You haven't been feeling. I need to feel something. You're like, I'm sick. I just need to feel sick. It's like, that's not a thing, man. Stop telling me to feel a thing that isn't a thing, right? That's your body is telling you, like, dude, stop it. Just let me feel the thing. But anyway, man, that's fucking letting go of my the concept of sickness, dude. Um, and on that note, dude, I watched this documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And maybe you heard of it, maybe you haven't. It's by this guy named Joe Cross. He was he started out, dude, normal kid, and then he became like this kind of investment banker type, started his own firm, and became like a sort of a millionaire in like his mid 20s, like my age. And at that point, he just started neglecting his health and focusing on his wealth. and just fucking buying cars, dude, eating burgers, drinking beer, getting fucked up, right? Just spending all the money that he was making, and not in a very healthy way. So, cut to a few years later, his doctors are like, "Oh, dude, you got this disease now, and guess what? If you don't do anything about it, it's going to be 100 times worse in 5 years, and 5 years after that, it's going to be 1,000 times worse." And so he's like, "Fuck, dude, I need to do something." He's like fat now, and so he decides to go on a 60-day juice cleanse. Um, and the movie is not trying to push a fucking vegan diet or a vegetarian diet. The movie is just trying to say this guy was neglecting his health, and most Americans neglect their health, which is true. Um, like, I'm sure the numbers change because it's kind of an old documentary, but the number, like the percentage of vegetables that's in a traditional American's diet is 5 or less percent. Um, and I was thinking about it, like thinking about my diet, and I was like, okay, like I put spinach in my omelets, and then I put bananas and blueberries and dates in my smoothies, and I put like bell peppers and a bunch of vegetables in the seasoning for my chicken, and I eat broccoli. So maybe I've got like a 15% thing going on. But if I start using my juicer again, that could be ramped up to like 30, 40, 50%, you know? And it just, there's something that feels good about holding all of these vegetables in your hand, chopping them up, and then just fucking pounding them down in the juice and being like, and in 5 minutes, you consumed more vegetables than you had previously in the last month. And if you're smart about it and you actually know what the fuck you're doing, which I do because I've worked at juiceries and smoothie places for 5 years, then it tastes great, man. It tastes great. People that are like, you drank what? You did what? Those people are just don't know what they're doing, man. Just just don't know what they're doing. Um, but the documentary is good, man. It follows Joe Cross on his 60-day juice cleanse. 30 days he spends in New York, and then 30 days he decides to take a road trip through some parts of America and talk to people and blah blah. And along the way, dude, he meets this guy named Phil Staples. I think he's like 420 pounds when he meets him, and he's a truck driver. And they're just like chit chatting at like the truck driver's pit stop. They just bumped into each other. Turns out the truck driver has the exact same autoimmune disorder that Joe Cross does. And Joe Cross has never met anybody else that has his disease. So he, in that moment, pays attention. Uh, and he tells Phil, like, dude, if you ever like, this has been changing my life. I've already lost 60 pounds in like a month. If you're ever interested in trying it, reach out and I'll help you out. I'll get you started. Lo and behold, a few weeks later, Phil reaches out to Joe, and and he's like, hey man, you know, it's just one of those like beep, beep. I'm sorry, you've reached the mailbox of Joe Cross. The red number you're trying to reach is not available. Please leave a message. And then you hear Phil's voice, and he's like, hey man, I don't know if it's too late. I don't know if it's too late, man, but I could really use your. I just don't know if it's too late, man, but if it's not, you know, I'd really be like willing to take you up on that. I'd really like your help starting that juice cleanse. And fucking dude, from there it just becomes a tear fest. You know, when it becomes about Phil, dude, it just becomes a fucking tear fest. You know, you're just watching this obese man get his fucking life back. And what I love about this documentary, man, is that it's not a documentary about weight loss. They talk about losing weight a lot, but dude, by the end of it, Phil, yes, he's lost over half of what he weighed, which is over 200 pounds. But he's not a truck driver still. He's like, I can't go back to truck driving, you know, because that's what did it to me. That's what did it to me. Um, he fucking starts working at like a YMCA, dude. He starts community juice cleanses, and it's just like he actually puts in the work to change the behavior that led him to be a morbidly obese person. And so it's just dude, it just is such a good documentary. And mostly because of like the message behind it. It's not like the documentary itself it's good, you know, but it's like one of those like early 2000 kind of documentaries, even though it was made after 2010. But dude, there's so many gnats in my fucking bedroom. And the worst is when I'm reading on my Kindle and everything is dark except my Kindle, and so they gravitate toward my Kindle, and then all of a sudden I'm reading, and then Lorena hopped on the horse and escaped from Blue Duck, and it just ring, ring, ring in my fucking ear. And I was fucking, as I was falling asleep, now I'm 100% wide awake. But yeah, man, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And there's a really great interview with Philip McKernan interviews Joe Cross. And yeah, and that also kind of motivated me to get back on the juices. So yeah, dude. I also I tried to watch the Friends reunion, and I don't know who actually sat through that, you know. Like maybe it's just because of what I know about Hollywood now, but there was something very bizarre from the first scene of just, we're gonna film 6 Hollywood actors going back to the set of this TV show that they were in, and just fucking suck each other's teats, dude. You know, like, I was so weird, man. And I don't know, maybe I'll give it another chance, but I was just like, and then they have James Corden, dude. James Corden is the guy that's fucking like interviewing them, and he's like, so I don't know if y'all know, but you changed the world. You changed the landscape of the world. And I'm just like, and people are like, woo! Just fucking losing their shit, dude. Like, they just walk out and everybody's like, oh, woo! You know, just fucking socially distanced futons in like the set where the fountain is, where they sing that fucking, I'll be there for you, 'cause I've been there before. I'll be there for you. The fuck, dude, that song, man. That song is something else. You know, it's one of those songs that, like, somebody probably wrote it, and then when they used it for the show, the guy was like, thanks, dude. I never have to worry about money anymore because royalties forever. It's just fucking, see, no one told you life was gonna be this way. Fucking, dude, who writes that song? Like, how do you fucking, you want to write up a song about like, how hard life is, and you're just like, dude, okay, fucking, dude, nobody told me life was gonna be this way, man. Just like, fuck, dude, that's a good line. Like, you see, no one told you life was gonna be like this. See, no one told you life was gonna be this way. And then you start crafting it, and you're just like, see, no, and then you're like, see, no one, see, no one's told you life was gonna be this way. Oh, dude. And what if you fucking, you just fucking, whoever came up with the for that song, dude, is a genius. And then the fucking chorus, man, it just is so fucking like cliche, man. It's like the Toy Story song, just more more Gossip Girl, It's like the fucking Randy Newman, like, you got a friend, but more Gossip Girl. Just fucking, I'll be there for you, 'cause I've been there before. Just a fucking like Savage Garden, dude. Is that who sings that song? I never wanted anything except a kiss from you. Dude, I made this playlist, dude. I'll play you a little bit of it. My brother fucking used to fucking jerk off to Savage Garden. And I don't mean that literally, dude. I just said dude twice, and that was unnecessary, but okay, dude. Oh, third time. There you go. Yeah, dude, this is it. Dude. I knew I loved you before I met you. If that's not psycho, dude. And the way he sings it too is so fucking, and back then you could say this. I guess you can't anymore, but I'm saying it as if it was back then, dude. Was so gay, dude. He's just fucking like, I knew I loved you before I met you. Just fucking, just not even pronouncing all of the words, dude. He's just, I knew I loved you before I met you. And my brother used to ask us to play that in the car on the way to school. My brother, my sister, me, and my mom in the car. And my brother wanted to listen to this. Dude, I mean, I wasn't that far off, I was asking to listen to fucking Maroon 5 and shit, but just fuck, dude. I knew I loved you before I met you. Just like a fucking, I don't even know what that sounds like, dude. Sounds like Michael Jackson, just fucking trying to persuade a kid to fucking, dude, I don't know. But yeah, dude, that fucking song, man, that fucking Friends song, dude. See, no one told you life was gonna be this way. And so they all come out, man, and they're just people like, woo, they're all celebrating, and then it's like, so Matt, what's it like being what's it like being back here? It's been 17 years, isn't that correct? And he's like, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I was telling Chandler, oh, whoops. I mean, like, and and the person I was watching it with, as soon as they all walked out and people were like, she said, why do we do this for fucking celebrities and not for like scientists and people that are moving the world into a better place? And that just hit me in that moment. I was like, oh, why am I watching this? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just very, very like, once you know what Jennifer Aniston is actually like, once you know fucking, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, and a lot of people disagree with me. But just once you know that Hollywood is mostly full of just empty fucking people who sold their soul, right? And if you don't think that's true, dude, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were huge partners of Harvey Weinstein. They probably knew exactly what was happening with all the fucking girls that were being abused. They probably saw it sometimes too, and they were okay with it, but we didn't cancel them. We only canceled Harvey Weinstein. And anyway, yeah, man. And you see what Hollywood's like, and then you're like, let's watch a fucking hour and 45-minute show about 6 of those people reminiscing on when they lost their soul, but not saying anything about what it was like to lose their soul, because they still don't have it. But man, that's a good song. What else, man? I mentioned the group. I mentioned the fucking group that I said I did on Monday when I was starting to feel a little bit, weak or whatnot. My therapist invited me to a spiritual processing group that is like associated with the counseling center that he and I were partnered up with or by. And it was just 4 of us this first time. It was him, it was me, it was this other guy, and I can't mention any of their names because it's all anonymous. And I'll try to speak mostly about my experience. But it was like 2 quote unquote professionals, and then 2 people that were like, oh, I would like to do this. Not to say that the 2 professionals don't also feel like they need that in their life, but they're kind of hosting it. That's a better word. The 2 hosts and then 2 participants. And it was 3 guys, 1 woman, and I think 1 woman that just couldn't make it this week. Now that you know all the unnecessary and unimportant details, dude, let me tell you the actual meat of the fucking issue. It's crazy, dude. The crazy thing about the group. So I guess what the group is for, right, is a spiritual processing group. It's like a space for us to talk about things in our journey that we feel like we can't really talk about in other spaces. So like, a lot of psychiatrists and therapists and people that try to diagnose you, right? And that can feel very isolating. And sometimes it's hard to find spaces where people understand and accept that, no, I'm not bipolar or this or whatever disorder you think I am. That's not what I am. I'm just an aggregate fucking the sum total of my life experiences. So that's an example of like one of the reasons I joined is because sometimes that feels like limiting, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, well, you're just this." And it's like, "No, there's more to it. Like life doesn't actually work the way that we used to think it did." Psychedelics is one other thing we can talk about. And where I ran into not issues, dude, but where I just ran into those feelings with the psychedelics before was in my anonymous groups where I just didn't feel like they got it. Because big part of it is being sober, right? A big part of anonymous groups is people's identity is tied to being sober. So it's like, when you come in there and you're like, hey, I just did a 6-gram mushroom session. I just did a hero's mushroom trip. And it helped me heal a lot of what caused my dependencies. They're like, they just look at you funny, man, or they like zone out. Or there were definitely some people that, like this one guy I remember, Ian, that would reach out to me kind of under the table, dude, reach out to me in secret and be like, dude, I really like that when you share, you keep it focused on like what you're actually doing. And that a lot of times you provide actionable sort of things that we can do. Because a lot of times these meetings just feel like, okay, we're talking about things, but like, what are we doing? You know? But the fact that he had to reach out to me kind of in secret is like an example of what I'm talking about, right? It just doesn't feel like the right place. I guess that's a good way of saying it. It's like it doesn't feel like the right place to be talking about healing by doing psychedelics, you know, because a lot of people might be triggered by that or might be uncomfortable by the idea of that, even though the 12 steps technically had a 13th step that was LSD, and nobody likes to talk about that because who knows why. And so that's what this group is about. It's like free for all, dude. You can talk about anything that's related to your like spirituality and your healing journey, with a focus on the things you feel you can't talk about in other places. And one of the topics that was brought up was norms and traditions. And we started talking about traditions first. And one of the people in the group said, I forget what she said, but the conversation basically became about like the definition of the word tradition versus ritual. Yeah, rituals and traditions came up, and it reminded me, man. It reminded me of like what I shared with the group was the idea that came to me was like traditions are like a way that trauma can be passed down, and rituals are one way that we can sort of break the chain and start anew without creating new trauma, right? Because a tradition is like, this is how it's always been and this is how it always will be, and you have to do it because we have always done it. And a ritual is when you're like, dude, I need to create something new for myself because this thing isn't working. At least that's just my like little thought exercise that I was doing. And I thought about the tradition in my family of sort of avoiding painful emotions and shaming them, right? I carry a lot of shame with my emotions, even happy emotions. I'm ashamed of being happy, dude. Um, that's why, like, most of my life, I didn't celebrate my birthday. I was sad. Um, or cried, dude. I've cried on more of my birthdays than not. I'll put it that way. Um, and so there's this tradition of just forget about it and move on. You know, my dad always used to say, like, I remember when my girlfriend and I would break up in high school. We broke up maybe a handful of times, and every time my dad would be like, when are you gonna get over it? Right? It's been a week. You're still not over it. There's so many other women in the world, and besides, you shouldn't even be focused on that right now. So it's like, oh, not only am I focused on the wrong thing, I'm doing it wrong too. Um, and so the tradition, you know, my dad's tradition and my family's tradition was just to ignore it, dude. Let's all just pretend that it's not happening and let not talk about it. And one of the ways that that really impacted me um, was when we moved. We we moved once when I was really young, and I don't remember it. I didn't. I don't think it carried very much. It doesn't carry much weight with me to this day. But we lived in a house for like the first year or two of my life, and then we moved to a house on the beach that my dad had built, and we lived there from when I was, 3 or 4 until we I was 11. So that was like my childhood home. And at the beginning of fifth grade or at the end of fourth grade or something like that, my parents said, we're selling the house. Um, and your mom's moving to California. And you and your brother are moving with her. And, it became about like, it became an argument, right? It became like, I don't want to move. Oh, you have to take care of your mom. And my mom kind of being like, well, I really wouldn't want to be without you guys next year. Maybe if you just try for 1 year, and like, just kind of like, playing that sob story. Um, and, but I never really had like a moment to sort of say goodbye to my house. Um, it was just like, you know, like we never had like a family thing. I think there were several days or just evenings where I was just like sad, but I didn't know why, and it was probably because I was sad about leaving. And then we went to my mom, my brother, and I moved to San Francisco, and we spent a year there, and then we came back. My mom stayed there, but my brother and I moved back, and we moved in with my dad. But we moved into an apartment. The house was sold. And all of a sudden, dude, this place that I grew up in, this place where I wrote my first girlfriend SpongeBob letters and drew SpongeBob images with bubbles that the letters were written inside of because I was too afraid to talk to her in real life. The house where my brother and I and his friends filmed a bunch of funny, silly short films. The house where we had our first few dogs. Um, just this beautiful home. I could no longer go there. It was like an out of bounds part of the map now. And I didn't like that. Like I remember in high school, dude, I would drive there sometimes and I showed my girlfriend like this is where I grew up, and I would show my friends, and like I was still very attached to the place because I never got to say goodbye to it. Um so cut to the present day, right? When my brother and I moved into the apartment that I'm in right now, we moved out of our old apartment that we had been in for, I think, 4 years. I've been in Austin for 6 years. So 4 years is most of my time in Austin. 4 years is the chunk of time in which I met and broke up with my two serious relationships in Austin. Um, I had a bunch of different jobs. I made friendships. I wrote most of my books and published them in that apartment. Um, I a lot of the conversations that I had with friends and family around the time that I published my memoir, I had, walking around that neighborhood. And so when we moved out of that apartment, I just realized I was I was just so sad. And I thought to myself, people move from place to place all the time. And I never see anybody be like as devastated as I feel right now. Like I genuinely felt like a part of me. I felt like, like I was leaving Austin. Um, and in a way, I was leaving a lot of those memories, moving on from a lot of those memories. Um, uh, and so in like the week leading up to that trip, I just remember feeling really sad, man. I felt a lot of grief, just like it was time to leave. I knew that, but it just felt really like I was breaking up with my girlfriend all over again. Um, right, there was a little splotch of blue ink on my carpet floor in my bedroom from a day when she painted while I wrote and accidentally stained the carpet. And she was like kind of nervous that I would see it, and I was like, that's barely visible, and also who cares, it's paint. um like and that's such a little, just an innocuous moment, but it's a memory, and I'll never get to look at that blue splotch of ink again, and I'll never get to walk around in that same bedroom that I have so many good and so many bad memories in. My dad and my stepmom came to visit and stayed in that apartment with us. My old friend Juan came to visit and stayed in that apartment with us. Um, my friend, fucking all my friends that have come to visit have stayed in that apartment. And so, there's just so many things that you're letting go of and moving on from when you move apartments that you don't think about. And it just hit me, dude. And I think it was because I had just done my first mushroom heroes dose that it was like, you can't escape it this time, buddy. And the reason it was so heavy was because I never got to say goodbye to my homes growing up. So it's not only was I feeling all of this, I was also feeling the weight of all the times in the past that I didn't get to say goodbye. Which is why it felt so heavy too, because it was like, this isn't just about this present day move. This is about me assigning the past to the present. And so I remember, man, the last day that we were on the lease for, the day after my brother and I moved out. We said we were going to go back and clean. And I said, hey, do you mind if I go clean just by myself? And my brother let me borrow the car. I drove over there. I wasn't going to clean, dude. I just walked into my empty bedroom. I played Alexi Murdoch. I played Alexi Murdoch's discography. And I sat in my empty bedroom, man, and I just wept, man, for maybe 2 hours and sobbed and just dry heaved. Because I don't know why, dude. I couldn't hold it in. Like, I walked into the apartment and just fucking, like that Dane Cook joke where you walk home and you walk inside your home and you're like, hello, is anybody there? And when you get those, he says, you get those 3 seconds of silence. That means it's okay to cry. And then you just fucking, and you just start crying. It was exactly like that, dude, except that I knew nobody was going to be home. So I just started crying before the 3 seconds. And there was something so comforting about it and also so heartbreaking. Because man, it's just so sad even to think about. Because I can hear Alexi Murdoch in my head, and I can feel what I felt when I was in that room, and just the way that the light came into that bedroom, and yeah, man. And then in the meeting, man, in the meeting, the two hosts asked me, how do you think that you knew to do that this time? Right? Because it wasn't your tradition. How do you think you knew to like create that ritual for yourself? And I said, honestly, man, I think it was just a byproduct of feeling scared to feel around my brother. And or not just specifically my brother, but just of this need to hide my feelings. I was so afraid to cry around my brother that I held it in. The whole move, I held it in. And I didn't cry when I came here to this new apartment and he was here. I just waited for that one moment where I knew I was going to be alone, dude. So it all was organically formed from a desire to cry alone, from a desire to sort of have a moment alone in case I cried. And yeah, dude, it was just fucking, when I was telling this story in the group, I started getting really emotional, man. I started crying, and and the reason I said that it's funny, the group, or it's crazy, and when I started talking about it, is because I've not cried in front of my therapist, because I have a new therapist, right, from the last month or two. There's still a part of me that resists crying in front of him. And yet, if there are more people, I cried. It felt good, man. It felt good. And I think that that's going to be the new thing that I say to sort of like get rid of the monkey in my head. Because anytime I feel emotional, I feel shame and I feel like suppress it. People are watching, suppress it. But I remember, dude, and this is going to stay with me forever, when Jimmy Rex was on the podcast and he started telling a story about taking his brother to the World Series. And he started crying, man. And what he said is so perfect. Anytime that you start crying, this is now what you're supposed to say, dude. This is now what I'm going to say anytime I start crying. Jimmy started crying and he was telling a story and he was like, yeah, man, I mean, I get emotional thinking about it, man. And and that's exactly what I said, man. I started crying as I said, like, and I went back to this apartment and I said goodbye to it, because I never got a chance to say I never got a chance to say goodbye to my childhood home, and I just started crying, dude. But I think right before I started crying, as I felt that I was crying, and I was like, the shame, I was like, I said, and I get emotional thinking about it, and then I started crying. And it was like I was like giving myself permission to cry in front of those people by saying, like, I get emotional thinking about it. Because it's I don't know, dude. I think my fear is that people will feel like, oh, fuck, this guy's crying. What do we do? And I guess it just is this little like brain hack for me of, if I say I get emotional thinking about it, people know like, this is just a thing that happens. Like he's got it under control. Right. And probably those people aren't even thinking that. They're just like empathizing. But just for my monkey in my head, it's like I get emotional thinking about it. So he's like, okay, they're cool then. So dude, day one of my fucking spiritual processing group, I cried, dude. To me, that's a fucking success. You know? Anything that helps me grieve is a fucking dime piece, dude. Fucking dime piece. But anyway, man, I'm over my time and I covered everything, dude. I covered pretty much everything on the fucking list. So that's the Pupil's Life. That is the Pupil's Life podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, man. I hope that there's something in this episode that speaks to you, and I hope you feel a little bit comforted by it. I've gotten some feedback from people in the last few episodes that's been nice. And I feel like I'm getting into this sort of this good groove with it, you know, where there's a couple of weeks where I'm like silliness. And then there's a couple of weeks where I'm just like, here is what I'm dealing with, dude. Here is who I am. Right. And I think that it balances itself out. You know, I think I'm striking a good balance between humorous and depressing. No, I don't think it's depressing, man. If you think it's depressing, it's not for you. So yeah, that's the Pupil's Life podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Do all the fun stuff that makes me know that you like it or don't do. Just if you listened all the way through, that's awesome, man. I love you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. All right.